What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I got here a rear diffuser. This is I think it's called the OLM A1 Style diffuser. So I got this for my WRX. This is one of the paint matched ones. So this is crystal black silica, which is the same paint that I have. I'm gonna see what it looks like. I feel like maybe unpainted would work a little bit better, because then the bumper and the diffuser would match. Since this one's painted, I don't know if it's gonna look a little weird, but since it's black, I feel like it'll be fine. If it was like another color, I don't know, because I've seen cars who have, like, let's say like a red WRX with like this one in red for the diffuser. It looks kind of weird because you have like red unpainted black plastic from the bumper and then a little red diffuser, and it's like, I don't really like that, the way that looks, but I think this one will look okay. So this install should be pretty easy. It's just, you have 4 screws here, holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 2 holes here, 1, 2. So these are gonna use bolts, and then these 2 are actually gonna go. You have to go into your trunk underneath where the spare tire is. There's like these rubber grommets, so you're gonna have to basically drill a hole, stick a bolt through, and that's gonna line up with these 2. For the top 4 bolts or holes, those are you're gonna drill directly into your rear bumper, and these like fins should line up with the rear bumper like pretty well. I've seen certain versions of these where they also have 2 holes on the sides. This one doesn't have any holes, so I guess I don't need to do that, but I have seen some where they have holes here on the side, and then you drill it into the, like, where the rear bumper goes over the exhaust. And then you have here just some hardware. So as I said, the bolts are going to be used for the bottom holes, the ones that go through those rubber grommets inside your trunk. And then you have like some I mean, they're not really self-tapping screws, but you have like these silver screws for the other mounting holes. And then you have some washers. I'm going to use the washers for the bolt. I don't think I'm going to use any washers for these screws. This should be a relatively easy mod. Nothing crazy, nothing difficult. The only thing is, I'm gonna jack up at least the rear end of the car just a little bit, so that I can get underneath to where these holes go. And then obviously you gotta kind of take apart your trunk, take everything out, trunk liner. If you have a trunk mat, you know, everything that comes with the spare tire jack, all that stuff, because you need access to those holes. So this is what the car looks like. You know, stock with no diffuser. It doesn't look bad, but like, I don't know, I feel like there's just something missing here, and I feel this little diffuser will definitely like add to it. I put a rock in the front to wedge the front wheel, and then now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just jack up the rear end just a little bit so I can get underneath. So I got everything out of the trunk, and then I don't know if you guys can see because the lighting's pretty bad, but right here and right here there's 2 grommets. So these are the rubber grommets you're gonna drill a hole through so that you can line up the back part of the diffuser. And then the front part just mounts up, you know, right here. And then just make sure that these fins, the ones that are on the stock bumper, make sure that these fins line up with the fins on the diffuser, and then you should be good. And then I'm gonna just drill little pilot holes and then use the screws that came with the kit. And then for the back, just make sure that you align them, or you line up exactly where you want the holes, because if you drill through the middle of the grommets don't line up perfectly with the diffuser. So, you know, just make sure that you put those in the right spots. But it's not too big a deal if you make a hole that's a little too big, because we're gonna use a bolt and nut. It's not like the screws where, you know, you kind of have to have them, you know, lined up perfectly. If the hole's too big, it's not gonna secure properly. If you have a hole that's a little too big for the bolt and nut, not the end of the world. So here I have it on the car now. The screws that it comes with actually bite into the bumper really easily. Like, just make a tiny pilot hole and it'll dig right in. Overall, I think it looks pretty good. It definitely adds a little bit more to the rear end, makes it look more complete, and it makes the car look a little bit lower, which is nice. I still have to do the 2 bolts that go through the grommet, but right now it's just being held on by those 4 screws. One thing I will note, the alignment of the fins on the diffuser are not perfect to the bumper. This is actually not my original bumper. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, but if you can tell here, like these fins, you can see they're slightly offset, like more towards the inside, the ones on the diffuser. It's a little bit more noticeable on the left side. But to be honest, I could just be nitpicking. Like if you just take a look at the car like at a close glance, it looks pretty good and it looks pretty fine. And then as you move from like side to side, you can see that those fins do align, you know, at different angles and stuff. So I don't know, this is like something you would have to decide if you're one of those people who needs everything to line up 100% perfectly. I don't know. You might go a little crazy trying to make this align perfectly, but if you don't mind if it's like, you know, slightly off by a little bit, then, you know, this is still, it's super easy to install, like literally. It's very simple, pretty aggressive. Like I love how it, you know, completes the rear end. And it's not like one of those huge diffusers that you don't have to worry about like scraping or anything. This one's like, you know, pretty small. Let me just show you guys real quick. I have a light now. So down there, you see that those two black covers? Those are the rubber grommets. Now that I have the diffuser on there, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna drill from the bottom, just drill straight upwards into the grommet, and then I'll feed my bolt through there. And then I'll show you how the bolts get mounted. And then once you're done with that, then you can put the car on the ground and you're all set. You're all good to go. I will say though, the gapping, very even. So, you know, the gapping here, all along here, you know, pretty good. All right, guys, so this is how I have the bolt on the inside. So as you can see, I have the bolt with that big flat washer. So what that washer does, it keeps it from, you know, with all the air pressure and stuff of the diffuser, you know, to prevent it from getting pulled out. That's what this long bar is. So it'll make sure that it doesn't pop out of that hole or pull the grommet through. So same thing on the other side. And then underneath, I mean, it's up to you if you want to do it the other way around, but I kind of have these bolts sticking out. I mean, they're pretty high up enough that I shouldn't scrape on them at all. Like, if anything, I'll scrape the exhaust before I ever scrape these. But yeah, I don't know. If you want to do it the other way around, be my guest, but this is the way that I'm doing it. But yeah, so here we go. It's fully on there, fully secure, nice and tight. As you tighten down the bolt, you will see that this big washer, let me get my light. You'll see that this big like rectangular plate will start to bend a little bit. That's okay. Just make sure it's like nice and firm in there. And then yeah, you're good to go. Then you can put the wheel back on, the jack and all that stuff. Close everything up, put the car back on the ground, and then you should be good to go. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna close everything up, put the car back on the ground, and then basically show you guys what it looks like. Now I have the car back on the ground. Here's the diffuser. Honestly, the more I look at it, the more I like it. So even though like the fins are like slightly off, unless you like really stare at it, you won't know. You won't be able to tell. So I don't know. Like I said before, if you're one of those people that needs everything to line up 100% perfectly, I don't know, maybe look for another product. But overall, I love the way it looks. It's super easy to install, very, very simple. Literally maybe like 20 minutes tops, you'll be done. And yeah, it just fills out the back end a little bit more. It looks a lot more aggressive. That's what I like. And yeah, now all I need to do is wash the car so that the paint on the car matches the paint on the diffuser. But yep, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I'll have plenty more.